You're listening to the Parents of Hardworking Teens podcast, episode 53, My Motivation Mindset Hack, a small but mighty reverse psychology kind of trick that can be super helpful when your teen has a task that they just don't want to do and turn it into something they actually do want to do so they finally get it done, minus the moaning. I'm Katie Jones, and with over 15 years in education as an award-winning high school teacher, international external examiner, and as a study coach, I've helped thousands of students skyrocket their results and confidence. And this podcast is where I share all my insights, tactics, and tips with you, the parent, so you can help your hardworking teen get happy, smart, and successful in their study, and have you both enjoy the journey along the way. This is the Parents of Hardworking Teens podcast. Hey VIPs, I hope you're doing really well this week. Today, I've got a bit of a mindset hack for you and for your teen. Now, I don't use the word hack very often, partly because I just don't feel young or cool enough to even use that word, to be honest, but also because I think that tricks and hacks often just feel a bit superficial or like a short-term fix rather than a long-term solution. And I'm usually more about long-term sustainable strategies and systems and skills that make big impacts rather than solve small little annoyances, which is where I think I hear the word hack used quite a bit. However, I do want to share this with you because when I heard someone else use it, I did not come up with this by myself. I thought it was really helpful, or at least it has been for me personally, and every time I tactically share it with a hardworking student, when they have something they just don't want to do, which we all have at times, right? I definitely know that I do. And they love how well it works and how it instantly changes their mindset and their thinking about things. And also, a nice little bonus, I think, is that it makes them realize that they actually do have a little bit more agency maybe over their tasks than they sometimes think they do. Because we all have things in life that we just don't want to do, but we have to do. Or at least we tell ourselves we don't want to do, and we tell ourselves that we have to do. So bear with me here while I explain this, because for your teen, it might be an essay, let's say, that they have been set. Maybe they've been putting it off, leaving it to the last minute. Maybe they're moaning about doing it, saying how boring or maybe how pointless it is. Maybe it even feels a little bit more like dread for them because perhaps it feels big and long and just not fun, and it's going to be a lot of hard work. I really like that word dread. I mean, I know it's not a fun, nice word, but I think it really pinpoints that feeling that we get sometimes about some things on our list. And it's often especially more those sort of tricky things that we just don't want to do because they feel often emotionally or maybe technically a little bit more difficult. And I know that you probably have your own ones of these as a parent as well, or just as a human living life. And I can tell you, for me, back in my full-time teaching days, a perfect example of this was writing school reports. It just wasn't the most fun or exciting part of teaching, as you can imagine. Now, I didn't dread it, but it definitely felt long and arduous, sitting down to type 120 reports, or sometimes like double that, depending on what cohort we were doing at what time, was not something that I was feeling excited for or motivated to do. But of course, I had to do it. Or another example for me, an everyday life example, would be cleaning the bathroom. I hate cleaning the bathroom. It's just one of those chores that I really have decided that I hate. And if you're thinking, well, maybe I should just get my husband to do it, let me tell you, I have tried that. But of course, he doesn't do it well enough. He doesn't do it to my standards or how I want it done. I hope, well, I'm sure there are some of you out there who can relate to this. And then I have to go and do it again afterwards. Anyway, he feels like he's done a chore and I just feel annoyed that he didn't do the chore how I wanted and that I still had to do it. All of the usual couple things, of course. But that actually brings us to the point of this hack, that there is a consequence if I don't clean the bathroom or if I didn't write those reports. I clean the bathroom, not because I'm motivated to do it or because I find it interesting or because it's going to help me in my future career. I do it because I just don't want a dirty bathroom. I wrote the reports because I didn't want to be fired. Or at the very least, reprimanded by the principal, having to go to the head teacher's office and having to explain why they weren't done. And this is the key here. We don't technically have to do any of these things. I could just leave the bathroom. I could just let my husband do it and do it badly. I could not write the reports. But we would, in most cases, rather do the thing than choose to have the consequence of not doing it. So let's take, just for a second, an extreme example of this. Let's say it's paying our taxes. Yes, legally, we have to do it. Most of us feel like we don't want to necessarily do it, and we could not do it. We just have to face the consequence of not doing it. Might get a big fine, might go to prison. Turns out, I do want to pay my taxes. Just like I do actually want to clean the bathroom because I don't want the dirty bathroom. Your teen doesn't want to fail their subject or get a detention or whatever the consequence might be for not doing their homework or not completing that essay or not revising for their exam. So maybe, just maybe, they do actually want to do it. Now I'm going to add something here. This is only for tasks where your teen is 100% clear on and knows what to do and how they need to do it. Because very often for hardworking students, if they are procrastinating on a task, which sometimes feels like not being motivated, but I actually think they are two different things. Procrastination is more when you do want to get the thing done, but you're somehow stuck in getting started or getting it done. And that usually happens because either they aren't clear on exactly what they have to do, what they're doing, or they're not sure of precisely how to do it. What are the steps, how they're going to complete it. Or they don't think that maybe that effort is actually going to pay off for them. They don't think they're going to get a great grade, or it's not going to give them some reward. Now, I talk about all of that in detail in episode 3, why your teen's procrastinating even though they want to get it done. So go check out that episode if you think that might be happening for your teen, or just to make sure that that isn't the case here. Because if it is one of those things holding your teen back on a task, and often they can be subtle, then it does not matter how motivated they are or how much they do want to get a task done. They are going to stay stuck and won't be able to make the progress that they need to. So this motivation hack that I'm sharing with you today is for those times when they know exactly what they've got to do. They know precisely how to do it, and they know that it's relevant or it's important, but they just don't feel like doing it. These are the situations that I'm talking about here today. And this is when you can say, okay, just don't do it then. I have honestly said that to students. Now, of course, you have to be careful about the type of student or the situation you're using this in. I do use my professional judgment here. This is not me as a teacher giving a student permission to just not do an assignment. This is me as a study coach helping a student get done a task that they have been dreading or putting off. And by even saying helping them do it, I'm not helping them actually do it. I'm helping get them to a point where they can go and independently do it. And as this podcast is called Parents of Hardworking Teens, then I hope that I'm safe to share this with you and your teen. And I know that for these types of students, it does really work. So if there's something that your teen has been putting off or leaving to the last minute or just moaning about, just say in an offhand kind of way, okay, just don't do it. And then here's what will probably happen. They'll either look totally shell-shocked and wonder if you've lost your mind, or they'll go from unmotivated to annoyed. They'll be thinking that you're a bit of an idiot and saying things like, don't be ridiculous, of course I have to do it. And that's okay, because both of those are all part of this little process. So then the next thing I say is, well, what would happen if you didn't? And this is when they then come up with the consequences. And this is important, that they engage with the consequences for themselves. So they say things like, well, I'm going to fail the term if I don't do it, or I'd get a bad report, or I won't get into the course I want, or I'll get a detention. Or sometimes it'll just be more like, well, I'd be disappointed in myself because I'm just the kind of person who does my homework, or my teacher would be disappointed in me. And often, honestly, for me, that's often enough. I am a person who has a clean house. I'm a person who gets my reports written on time because I am a bit of a geek and I'm a bit of a rule follower. So that's just me. So like I said, use your judgment here and consider what might work with your teen. And you can totally use this on yourself. So if your teen is by any chance listening to this, I want to tell them that you don't need a study coach or a teacher or a parent to do this with you. And it literally takes seconds. So you just state to yourself, I could just not do this. And just sit with that for just a few moments in your brain. It will instantly, then your brain will instantly come up with all the reasons why that is not a good idea. And then you just pick the one that feels the best or the strongest for you. So not the one that is simply, well, I do have to do it because the teacher told me to. You pick the one that is most about you. Like, I don't want the detention, or I do want a good report card. And for me, and for the students I've used this with, like I said, I am discerning about using this. But for me and for many students, that is enough to make us realize that we do actually want to do it. We are choosing to do it. And now we have a clear reason that is personal to us, or maybe even multiple reasons as to why we do want to do it. And when we get clear on that, when we actually realize that deep down, beneath the dread or the boredom or the drag of doing it, we actually do want to do it. We're telling ourselves we don't want to, but actually, if we really decide and think about it, we do. We might not enjoy it, and that's okay. We might not love doing it, but that motivation does go up a notch, and we do feel more committed. And like I said, it literally takes a few seconds to make that switch. There's no time wasted on things like going to find and watch motivational YouTube videos. There's no energizing yet distracting music needed in the background. And personally, I think that being able to do things and get ourselves to do things from our own initiative, even when we don't want to, is an excellent skill to have in life. And the more that we practice it, the better we get at it. So there's an extra little bonus reward in there too. The long-term rewards that we're going to get as we get good at getting ourselves on with things that serve us, even when we don't want to. I think that's an amazing life skill to have. So I would love for you to let me know how you go with this. Email support@rocksolidstudy.com if you find a way to use it with your teen or even with yourself. And like I said, use your judgment. You know your teen best, and you know if this is going to spur them into action or have them lazing around instead, thinking that they've just been given permission to give up. This is for hardworking and committed teens who are just having a bit of a blip or a low moment. So I don't want any emails from teachers next week saying that I have somehow told students that they don't have to do their homework or their essays. So let's go make this a super motivated week. I will see you back here next Tuesday for another episode. Have a great day. Take care, and I'll see you then. If you're ready to have your teen achieve their best possible results with less stress, then I want to invite you to enroll them in the 10-week Grade Transformation Program, where they're going to learn the key concepts, skills, and strategies to catapult their performance in assessments and exams. It's risk-free. They either achieve bigger and better results with a whole lot more confidence in 10 weeks, or we refund you in full. Just head over to www.rocksolidstudy.com/program, and I'll see you there.